Most important part of our routine is the entrance.
Yes, absolutely.
Frank, what the hell are you doing, man?
That's my character. I'm the trash man. I come out, I throw trash all over the ring, and then I start eating garbage. And then I pick up the trash can and I smash the guy on the head.
Oh, that's gonna be a disaster.
No, nobody's gonna get hurt.
I don't really care either, but there's a lot of people upset by it.
What was his versus? What did he?
I don't know. I don't fucking know.
Grab life by the horns and I whip the Lambo. That's all I remember.
Oh.
Off their first albums.
Pop that pussy. that was his lyric.
Yeah.
That was the only lyric.
That pussy. Brockhampton 2018.
Pop that pussy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very first episode of the Trashcast, Team Trashman Trashcast. Today is... no, it is...
Next one.
June 1st?
Next one.
Friday,
Yes.
June 1st.
It is Friday, June 1st, 2018. I'm here with my good friends, Trevor Wolfo, my good friend John Windsor, and my good friend David.
Hi.
Here to talk about some video games. Everybody say hello. In unison, please. Make it harmonized.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, we're done.
Yeah, the audience hates it.
Very good, gentlemen.
I'm glad that.
Here to talk to you about
Dr.
the
Mike's.
latest in stuff, specifically news, things we've been talking about, things we've been playing. It is busy this year. We've got E3 coming up in 2 weeks. Just had a big drop
8 days.
with
Actually.
It's only 8 days?
Yeah, it's next
Like
Sunday.
June 9th.
Next Friday?
Next Sunday.
Next Saturday.
Saturday,
Sunday.
excuse me. Saturday.
In this
What's
podcast,
next
we're going to
Sunday?
learn to count.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck
We
that.
don't know dates. We don't know how to count.
None of us actually
Fuck that.
graduated 5th grade, so
It's true.
take that for what
We
you
are
will.
all a bunch of 5th graders.
Fourth grade, thank you.
E3 just a week away, but we've got a ton of news to talk about today. Nintendo with the big swing on the fucking 2 new Pokemon games. We'll talk about that later today too. So, gentlemen, how we doing?
Alright,
Pretty good.
it's Friday.
Pretty good.
I'm ready
Not a lot
to...
at once.
Friday, baby.
Friday, baby.
Right
Ready to
back,
talk
play
about
some
some
video
fucking
games.
video games.
Honestly,
we,
I'm
talk-
looking,
talk
I'm looking
about-
forward to
Back again on
drink.
a Friday afternoon to fucking drink and talk about video games, just like every other day.
Should we talk about what we're all playing recently?
Yeah, tell me.
Playing
Yeah,
some
I feel like the 5 of us haven't talked in a while. Like, what
Yeah.
are we playing?
Well, I guess I'll go first. Personally, been playing some Dark Souls Remastered. I got fucking
Yeah.
scammed. I drank the Kool-Aid because I'm a fucking
Okay.
big Dark Souls boy.
Okay, so about the Dark Souls remastered,
Yeah.
did it add multiplayer? Because I know
What-
I know with Prepare to Die you can't
It
really
added-
multiplayer.
Well, you could. There was definitely multiplayer in Prepare to Die, but it was run
Yeah.
through Games for Windows Live, so it
Yeah.
was hot fucking garbage.
Yeah.
Now it actually has dedicated servers, and they did add a shit ton of functionality to it. Like, multiple covenants that were just straight up broken in Prepare to Die actually work in this one now.
Yeah.
And they increased the maximum number of phantoms you can summon from 2 to 3.
You know, that seems like a worthwhile. I mean, honestly, for the multiplayer, I'd probably get it for the multiplayer alone. To be honest.
The multiplayer was mostly just that it's a whole new flood of people playing the game. There's apparently a huge market, though, of people who just never played the original Dark Souls. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, actually. I mean,
I feel like
I've never beaten it, but I've gotten really far.
Because most people just say Dark Souls, and they're like, "In that game, that's just like really hard." It's like,
It's the hard game that
I got
the weird
to-
friend bought, and then
Yeah.
like
And
loaned out to you
everyone's
for
like-
like a week.
and you were like, "This is too hard."
I got to Ornstein and Smo, and I quit the game. That was me last year. Took me
Oh,
like
you
a year
played
to
Dark
get to
Souls?
Ornstein
I
and
heard
Smo.
that was a really hard game.
Yeah. Hey, you played Dark Souls? I heard that game's pretty hard.
You must be pretty
You ever-
good at video games, dude.
I-
And then
Pretty good at fucking.
to
video
finish
games.
my
I never got
games
as far
off,
as Windsor.
I've also been playing
Wait,
playing RimWorld and playing a little Rainbow Six Siege. So
I'm just gonna forget.
who's next?
Wait,
who wants to talk
David,
about
you
their
never
video games?
you never finished Dark. You ever played Dark Souls?
I owned Dark Souls, yeah.
You owned it, but you never finished.
I never got into it. Like, I just...
Are you?
I mean, I
can
never finished
understand
it
it.
either. I got to.
I liked it. I really liked it. The problem was, it was in that time of my life. I just graduated college. Or, like, I was about to graduate college. I don't remember. When did it come out?
2011.
11.
Oh my god, I didn't graduate at all yet. what was I doing then? I don't know. Like it was just like I just didn't have the time.
A lot of stuff happened.
It didn't do that well on release, I think.
Well, I was excited.
I mean, if we're
it
talking
did
about
numbers
like,
afterwards. Like it kept selling. It just kept selling after that. But
There's a strong there's a strong movement on like a lot of Dark Souls like communities, I guess, for lack of a better term. Like Demon Souls is like a lot better than Dark Souls. Like comparing just those two games, like not the series necessarily.
never played Demon Souls.
I never played Demon Souls
It's
either.
annoying because if you die once, you lose half your health.
Yeah, I mean, I never played Demon Souls either, but you know, I've seen a lot of people spout opinions saying, you know, it's better than Dark Souls 1.
So I'm pulling some numbers right now off of Eurogamer. Robert Purchase. I've never heard of this guy before, but Eurogamer is pretty. From what it says, Dark Souls has sold, and this is, I'm guessing, original Dark Souls has sold 2.82 million units worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I get that number is because Prepare to Die Edition, which was the re-release they did about a year and a half after on PC, and then I think they pushed it out to like Xbox 360 and PS3.
Yeah, it was also on Xbox 360, PS3, and they had a whole new area.
Sold 2,765,000 copies. So I mean, that's still we're talking at what is that? Just over 5 point something million copies for a kind of niche Japanese game. Yeah, that's pretty big. I mean, I know a lot of friends
at the time.
I mean, we're talking 2011. This isn't like I think in the last 2 years we've seen a lot of like Japanese games kind of like, a lot of Japanese publishers and developers kind of like have this resurgence, but like back in 2011 this was kind of unheard of for
dude. Anyone
I mean, think about what Dark Souls is, right?
Yeah. Like anyone but Nintendo or Squeenix or you know,
right. I mean, it felt like it was kind of this thing that came out of nowhere at the time. And
Dark Souls 3 was when it really, you know, hit the market, when everybody was like, I love Dark Souls.
Definitely got steam, I would say, over the last.
And then Dark Souls Remaster is a good idea, I guess.
Dark Souls, it's weird. Dark Souls 2 kind of like fell flat. Sort of. I mean, I personally never played Dark Souls 2, but I heard a lot of people say it's like, you know, it's pretty good. It's like it's like good enough.
I didn't really like it. The map
my
made
expert
no
opinion is
sense,
that it's
and the bosses were really boring.
It's definitely like a different game than the original Dark Souls. Like,
it had a completely different creative
director,
right?
Right. I mean, that's why a different team.
It wasn't.
It's still the weighty Dark Soulsy combat that you know you kind of expect. I think there's something to be said about like that game the first game getting really big, and then like trying to hype up this entire sequel as like, oh, you're gonna die a bunch, and you're gonna like it, motherfucker, and it's gonna be hard.
It's gonna be the Dark Souls of Dark Souls.
Yeah, it definitely felt like they tried to push this whole like idea of what Dark Souls was into Dark Souls 2 instead of like making it what it actually should be, which I think Dark Souls 3 is much more of a spiritual successor to Dark Souls 1.
But Dark Souls 1.
Yeah, I agree with that. I really like Dark Souls 3.
Although like a re-release is cool. I mean, I have played
close to a perfectly designed or level designed game in my opinion, but
yeah, it's pretty good.
Oh yeah. Sure.
I mean, especially like I said, 2011, where a lot of Japanese games kind of. I mean, that's around the same time with like Final Fantasy 13 came out, and people really shat on that game for being terrible, and there was this kind of like resurgence.
Was that the corridor one? Is that the one you can only walk in one direction?
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, 10 was that as well, but
10 wasn't as bad as it was
Interactive
though.
cutscene.
yeah. Well, the thing is, like 10 for what it was, like it kind of being the first of this like very cinematic, like very straightforward.
You're right
Final
to say
Fantasy
that
game.
it was a very corridor type of RPG, but 13 was every corridor looked the same.
I guess.
What was
I mean,
13
it
on?
also doesn't help that 13 was on the
on-
Xbox 360 and PS3, so
Yeah.
Gen 6.
God
I think 13 was the
How
first one to be
long-
released on Xbox.
Dude, how long did that generation last? 360
9 years.
and
Oh, 9
God.
years.
Yeah,
10 years.
it lasted a
probably.
while.
I got my first Xbox 360 in 2007.
this one's probably gonna last even fucking longer, dude. We're just gonna keep
No.
getting Xbox One X2, XXS.
No, because you're
Are
having
they doing it?
you're having the CEO of Sony say
Oh, he's going PS5.
He's saying that the PS4 is approaching its end of its life. End of its life
Yeah,
cycle.
what does that look like? Like, we have these half-step consoles. Like, do we really need a completely different console that's going to be...
We're also,
PS4 Pro now.
We're also seeing the popularity of PC surge, especially with like stuff like Fortnite, and especially with Twitch streamers, because Twitch streamers are exposing kids to things that are not console related, and they're going, I want to do that. Daddy, mommy, give me your credit card.
Daddy, mommy, give me the credit card. I will say this, I think, like... I mean, if we're going to talk about, like, console gaming being 10 years behind PC, which is kind of like the, you know, adage that they say, like, I think we see another step of consoles, like, up in the power grid, but I mean, they're toying with these ideas of, like, the same console, but just more powerful. Like, what's that going to look like eventually, where it's just like, this is just the PlayStation, right? And it's got swappable GPUs, right? Or you need a specific model of the PlayStation in order to play the game.
I don't think they're gonna go with swappable parts, mostly because we saw that happen with cell phones. They attempted that with smartphones, and it really ended up not going anywhere.
Nokia shit. Yeah,
people ended up being happy. Well, I mean, people are happy now every year getting a new phone, and it's like I could see console manufacturers are going to want to do that because that's probably where the money will start going.
The only thing is developing new hardware is so expensive. Like, for the longest time, I'm pretty sure Sony and Microsoft sold their consoles at a loss, actually, because they just wanted... They saw them primarily as platforms. They wanted to drive game sales and Xbox Live subscriptions.
Sony had a big problem when they first released the PS3 because it was like significantly more expensive than both the Wii and the Xbox, and
it was like $800.
No, it wasn't. I mean, it was like 600, but still like 500 to 600
more
for a
expensive
console?
than a PS4. Yeah, it was more expensive.
What the fuck? Like
back then.
If someone, the thing I'll say is, like, if someone sat you down right now and said, "Me $600 for this console," I'd fucking slap them silly. Like there's. I think it's something to be said about, like,
and then
cost of playing games.
And even then, not just the price, the architecture of the thing. You had developers complaining and moaning and bitching that, hey, we really can't do much with this software, with this hardware. We can't do like the amazing things they said they would, and then it ended up that the PS3 and the Xbox 360 were just matched together. They ended up one not being properly better than the other, with the Xbox coming ahead simply because it was more popular. And it was easier to develop.
It's more cheaper too.
Well, I think my friend had it.
Well, that's exactly it. The thing is, I think when it comes to console gaming, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I see this segmented into two things. You have the core market, which is your PlayStations and your Xbox. You have your, I want to call it the additional outside market, which is basically the Nintendo Switch. Like, he's buying a Switch to play with their friends. These days,
let's not forget, back in 2011, the Wii fucking crushed both the Xbox and the
PS3
and
that's what I'm
in
saying,
terms of
is
sales.
like,
Destroyed both of them.
Nintendo cemented themselves as like the, hey, this shit is really cool and it only costs you $250, right? Yeah. Like, it shot for a different market than, I don't know a lot of gamers, and I'll say the word gamers with a massive fucking finger quotes, that were buying a Wii because they wanted to play fucking Xbox with their friends. Like, you were buying an Xbox or a PS3 because that's where these hardcore gamer titles were. Call of Duties, right?
I think it all boils down to just the games that are available for each console, and like by virtue of the fact that Nintendo has always made like family-friendly games like Mario or fucking Donkey Kong or whatever. And meanwhile, you got Microsoft making Halo, you got Sony making Metal Gear Solid, Konami makes Metal Gear Solid, but Sony, you know, it's only on PlayStation.
Right.
You know, all these hardcore games that are for lay hardcore gamers, you know the deal. So, I don't know, it kind of causes rift, like cultural rift, and like, the kind of person that buys an Xbox and the kind of person that buys a Wii.
I kind of want to.
Two different people.
I kind of want to go back to how our discussion about where the future is for the consoles, and this is going into what this is going towards where Microsoft. No, this is what Microsoft seems to be doing specifically with the Xbox. They have created an APU, whatever they want to call it, where you code one game and the APU automatically, well, quote, air quotes again, automatically adjusts it to both the Xbox and the PC market. So I see that I see that further being expanded. We're going into like, okay, well, let's have just slight small incremental upgrades in the future of the Xbox One, where we're going to see that, oh, because of this APU, they don't need to have like, oh shit, new hardware, what are we going to do? It's like, no, Microsoft makes it a back end that takes care of everything.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I think you're going to get one more generation of consoles, right?
I think it's all going mobile after that, personally.
We can talk about that in a second, but what I'm saying is, like, you're going to get another...
mobile, but yeah, go ahead.
You're going to get another step up from this, like, console, right? Everything is going to be, it's an Xbox title. It's not an Xbox One title or an Xbox fucking 2, whatever they're going to call it. But it's a Xbox title. So it's going to be, this APU is going to take care of rendering the game at whatever your edition of the Xbox can handle. And we'll even count PC into this market, because all PCs are just expanded Xboxes at this point. But I'm going to buy an Xbox in 2020, right? Every 2 years, Microsoft is going to put out a more powerful version of the Xbox. And for, we'll say, 5, 10 years, every game that's pushed out this platform is going to be be able to be run on my Xbox original, my 2020 Xbox, and then every single increment of that Xbox for the next fucking, who knows, ever, maybe. Eventually, developers are going to be like, alright, here's the cutoff. If you've got an Xbox that was created in 2020, it cannot play our game anymore.
I think that's going to be happening a lot more sooner. I think when they do the next Xbox, that's it. There's not going to be an Xbox One variant. You're going to start seeing developers going, well, we need to have more power behind it, and really it's just them being lazy and they don't want to compromise on anything. And instead of actually compressing textures or anything, it's what we saw with with Sony, where the developers just didn't compress anything because they're like, oh, we have a Blu-ray, we don't need to compress anything. But then you had the system hogging up everything. Like we saw even with Metal Gear Solid 4, where after a certain number of levels, you had to reinstall the game.
Yeah.
Because they were just too lazy to compress anything.
Freaking.
I will say this.
My broad. You finish your point, and then I'll launch.
No,
into
go
my
ahead.
tirade.
It's probably the same thing. Go ahead, Trevor.
All right. Well, if I were to make a broad prediction for the future of consoles or the future of gaming, I think it's going mobile in the sense that once the sort of concept for like an Nvidia Shield or a Nintendo Switch, like we've seen just the very base model of what that can do. Obviously it's not going to be as powerful as a console or a gaming PC, but I'm not talking short term here. I'm talking like 30, 40, 20 years in the future, when the level of technology that's amazing now can be compressed down to a tiny size inside like an iPad sort of thing. And I think if you want to have that serious console experience, you can still have that. You just plug it into like your TV basically and sit down, game, take it with you.
I think
it does a
honestly,
bunch of other shit.
With the Switch, how well the Switch did now, I wouldn't discount seeing another PSP. A whole new
Like a Vita?
PlayStation
Vita
Portal.
2?
Oh, Vita
if
2.
they- If they made it like, if they went for a Switch-like concept where we're gonna be like, okay, it's a console and a handheld.
I'm gonna tell you
like
why
it's
that's
a hybrid.
I'm gonna tell you why that's not gonna work. I'm gonna tell you why we're not gonna see a Vita 2. The Switch has already been jailbroken.
I don't think that's the reason why, but I don't think we're gonna see a Vita.
No. This is going towards the basic idea of what a company executive thinks. They're not thinking logically. They're not thinking anything. They simply see that another handheld has been cracked. They were incredibly scared with that with the Vita, and that actually made, I think personally, the Vita failed simply because of the mechanism that they put in place to stop piracy. You had proprietary SD cards or whatever they wanted to call them, and it was like for 32 gigabyte memory card, you had to spend $150 on it or some absurd amount.
Yeah.
And it was like, even now, I want a Vita. I really want a Vita, and because you can hack it now and you can put whatever you want in it, I want it even doubly so. But what has stopped me time and time again is when I look at the memory cards.
Shitty proprietary.
I think so. As a former Vita owner, and I fucking loved my Vita to death, I think that your idea is half right, but I don't necessarily see it coming down to it like the hardware being cracked. I think it's about the value of what you're gonna spend on a Vita. Like, we're talking a fucking ridiculous amount for storage. Like, these 128 gigabyte memory cards costing more than my 1 terabyte fucking hard drive on my PC.
That's the thing. That's the thing. That wasn't a complete misstep that some Sony executive thought was a good idea simply because the engineer said we're using proprietary hardware, therefore they cannot hack it. Because they're
you're right. No, I think you're right. No, I think that's what it does boil down to is like use the fucking
Vita,
Yeah.
You used an expensive version of fucking memory, made the thing cost twice as much as any handheld on the market, which is why that thing fucking failed. I love my Vita. I think it's a great fucking handheld. It is so goddamn expensive though, like a ridiculous amount.
And you could never get away with that highway robbery.
I think I spent $200 on the base version of my Vita back in 2012, maybe. And to put that into perspective, you can get a Switch for $300. You can get a console, like a actual docking console.
You can get a PS4 for $300.
You can get a fucking PS4 for $300. Like,
What?
That's fucking ridiculous.
Oh, I completely lost my train of thought.
Yeah.
I think that's why. Like, I will defend the Vita to its deathbed to a point.
I have a question to post to the group after you finish this thought, Ben.
I just think like the value for what you spent on $100 plus fucking $60 for games still, plus an additional $40 for a 24 gigabyte hard drive or whatever the fuck they had.
Okay,
Ridiculous.
I have a quick question about the pricing of games.
Windsor, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
So, at what point do games really cost $60? That's my question.
No.
No.
Especially
so much more.
given
How long have they?
No, they cost less than
costed $60.
especially
think
given
less?
like the like digital copies. Like,
okay, this is
the
my
shit you buy
train.
on Steam.
This is my train of thought behind why I believe it costs less, because $60 is based mostly on retail sales. That is where the $60 originally came from. We saw with the PS2 it was $50, but then we saw with the next generation it started moving up incrementally to $60. The problem with that is it's retail sales. A lot of it is about the logistics behind it, delivery of it from like packing, warehouse storage, the actual manufacture of a plastic, the actual manufacture of a disc. So to buy something, let's say on Steam or even the Nintendo store for $60,
PSN, Xbox Live,
it's
all
like
that shit,
you sidestep all of these things, and so you're still paying the $60 for something that is digital and no longer physical.
The argument
Sure, I
against
guess
that is imagining just the sheer amount of man hours that have to go into making a modern video game.
So
And the sheer
why-
amount of computing power that has
it
to be used
starts-
to render, like,
It starts to get tricky because then you're
worlds,
talking about
but
AAA titles which are getting
it's
produced by these
impossible to
like
know how much
multi-million-dollar national companies, Activision, Blizzard, right? As opposed to like the indie games that are still getting sold for $20
Yeah.
digitally.
Yeah.
I would say that your margins are fatter on those indie games than they probably are on your AAA titles, just because of the amount of man hours that are.
Yeah, the man
put in.
hours,
So,
the
like,
hour, the processing.
So many
It's-
coders
it's-
you have to pay.
It's interesting to think about these days because like we exist in the prime time where digital sales and physical sales are starting to become 50-50. Like they're not there yet, but they will be eventually. I think.
Let's call our resident expert on indie games, Phil Fish. Phil Fish, how are you doing?
Bill Fish, please fucking put out Fez 2.
No,
Japanese games
I'm done with
So
that.
the best
Japan
Fez
can't
1 is
make
still the
video
best
games.
indie game that I've ever played. Anyways, Trevor, you had something to say. Last thing before I switch this over.
That's right. This question is for Code specifically, but everyone else feel free
Who?
to chime in on this.
Who?
what
David,
is-
you have a
What?
question.
Sorry, David. Yes.
Dave.
Anyways, what do you see as the future as a VR owner of VR in the video game industry
Okay.
and wider? What's your
Okay,
piece on
I get
that?
a lot of arguments.
You've got 3 minutes.
Shut up! I get a lot of arguments
cutting
about
you off
this
after that.
all over the place. And it's the same thing I said when VR first came out. I said at the beginning that people who buy VR will be greatly disappointed because they're thinking about it like, yeah, I'll get VR and then I'll play Team Fortress 2 and it'll be fun. Hold on. Oh, here we go. Okay, but the main thing is that they think that, and then they get into it and they realize it's nauseating. You're still controlling a mouse. You're not looking at something. You're not moving your head independently. And I try to explain to people that there's a peripheral on the market called the Tracker or whatever, and it's this little infrared device that attaches to either your headphones or onto a baseball cap, and there's a little infrared sensor that goes on top of your monitor, and it detects your head movement in a three-dimensional space, so that way when you're playing a game like Arma or even a flight simulator, you can do it then. And I would tell people who wanted VR, I said, look at this device, look at the Track IR. If you cannot see yourself like having an actual like reason to have this, VR is going to have a very limited amount of situations that you're going to find enjoyment in. But I will say, so for me liking simulators, VR
broadly is the future of VR too. Do you see it being a fad like 3D, or do you see it actually like this is just the first just the first iteration, it's just going to keep getting better and better?
So yeah, I was going to get to that, where the one thing I do notice in VR is it's a completely different feeling, because I explained this to our boy
it is pretty fucking cool. It is pretty fucking cool.
No. I explained this to Red Wolfo before, where when you're in a firefight in VR, you do not feel as if you're playing a character. You do not feel like you're playing a game. You feel like as if you get shot, it is your fault. It is you getting shot. Like, not like, oh, the bullet, it hurts or whatever. No, it's simply like you feel that tension of like you can really fuck up right now. And that's what drew me even further into it, because I was like, oh, this is great. But I think really the future for VR specifically isn't in that feeling, isn't all that. I think the social applications are what's going to bring it in. Because, I mean, we saw VR chat in the past year explode, mostly because of a meme that was baked before it even started. But it was like the whole...
You still can't go into that game, because you just hear...
I haven't been in that game in like months.
Don't bother. Just continue and don't bother.
But the social experiences in there was pretty cool, and I think that that's something that a lot of people are going to be started to be attracted to, and that. But I think what may harm and may ultimately be the demise of VR, if there's ever going to be a demise, is these cheaper VR options. Because you have Oculus sending out the Oculus Go, which is just basically a cell phone that's built into an Oculus headset, and I thought originally that it was going to be like the Oculus Rift, but a cheaper version that connects to a computer nonetheless, even though it has like a built-in phone or whatever the fuck. And you'll be able to use like kind of sort of a VR experience, but not the full one. And then it turns out that no, it's just basically smartphone hardware built into a VR headset. Have fun with it. And so now I see on the VR store, it's flooded with like smartphone apps. And I'm like, oh no, it's fucking garbage. So if anything does destroy it, it's going to be that when you have shovelware. It's going to be the shovelware with people going, is this all VR is? And then they never again look at it. And then a couple years down the road, they're like, did this get any better? When really what we have already is just amazing already.
Right.
Yeah.
Amazing, sister.
My question to you guys is, when are you all going to stop? No. When are you all going to stop being poor? Get a VR headset. And
I'm thinking about it.
Just make love to each other.
I'm thinking about it too.
I'm legit thinking about it.
Not until there's some fucking something that sells me on it.
Okay.
And like that I know that my $600 will be invested wisely.
Okay.
Yeah,
hold on. I'm hijacking the whole thing. Okay.
Yeah, you got 1 minute.
No, we're gonna go on an intermission for the next 10 minutes, next 5 minutes, because I got pizza just got delivered. So we're gonna have an intermission. Everyone's gonna refresh on drinks.
Then while you fuck off.
Alright, message from our sponsors.
We can keep it going. Well, I'll let you know when we restart. Go get your pizza, bitch.
He's gone.
Today's podcast brought to you by Domino's Pizza.
Today's podcast brought to you by lootcrate.com/lootcrate. Get yourself a fucking loot crate. Buy that shit. It's got all sorts of fun gamer stuff for your gamer needs. Like
I love loot box.
It's got socks and a shirt so that everybody will know that you're a gamer when they look at your feet and look at your body. Also, in this month's Loot Crate, brought to you by Loot Boxes. So you buy the Loot Crate, and then inside the Loot Crate is 6 little loot boxes.
What if there was like loot boxes, but it was a Loot Crate? What if instead they like maybe just gave you a bunch of shit? Like they just give you a bunch of like you can either get just a bunch of like shitty silly bands or something and like a strong bracelet.
What if there was a loot box where within it
There
was another loot box?
Anybody who's listening to it, and hopefully Code cuts this out, here's my great idea. It's loot crate. It's loot box, or what's it called? Loot crate.
Yeah.
Right?
Loot crate.
It's loot crate, but instead of telling people what they're gonna get, we just take their $10 and we give them fucking something else.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
Just
that's
like
what I'm
loot
saying.
boxes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's
do
completely
a bait and
random what they
switch.
get, and they
Yeah,
probably get
we
one.
show a list of what you can potentially get.
Just like, I mean, it's just like loot boxes in real life.
They end up with
Yeah.
like 3 gummy
No,
bears and like a Live Strong bracelet or something.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's basically just fucking trash. All of it's trash, but
Yeah, it's Garbo.
Pretzel stick.
pretzel stick.
I've never gotten a
Single
loot box.
pretzel stick.
Code, if you're listening to this while editing, play this song over this intermission.
Code, can you have this podcast fade out? I have a message for Code.
What song is that, Bennett?
Bum, bum. I don't know.
Code, can
It's
you
just
can you
screaming.
have this podcast fade into "My Life Be Like" by
Yeah,
Be that, ooh,
Wait, let
Theme-
me see who this is by.
theme
Ooh.
song. It's by 50.
It's by Grits Toby Mac.
Just make sure you don't play too much of it.
Yeah, you can only get away with like 30 seconds, otherwise they're gonna fucking sue us and we don't have any money.
play,
Yeah,
Don't
theme
sue
song,
me, please.
theme song is gonna be My Life.
We're not
Be
making
Like,
money off of this.
Ooh,
It's
not until we
transformative
set up a
nature.
Patreon.
Nah, nobody. We're not gonna set up a fucking Patreon. That's gonna be fun too.
We can use less than 30 seconds, right? That's fair use.
Yeah, we'll just sing it. It'll be a parody.
Yeah,
some-
exactly.
Something like that.
My life be like, ooh,
No, you gotta change the lyrics to be like,
ooh.
his life be like. You gotta change my life to his life. That would.
Yeah.
As you can clearly see, Your Honor, listening to this right now, it was transformative in nature. It was
His life.
parody. It was all parody. Not
It
for
was a
profit.
parody.
I'm
We'll
getting-
say it right now. Disclaimer. This is a parody.
My life be like, yeah. My life be like, yeah. My life be like, yeah.
Like,
Welcome back, everybody. Somebody play the fucking news music. David.
We're not-
Alright.
Cowboy
That's the
Bebop,
news
no.
music. Is the JoJo opening theme. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 da da ba 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 da da ba da. Welcome to the news.
Welcome to
Fallout
well,
76.
woo.
Fallout Todd Howard's
Todd
Wild Ride Part
Todd
fucking
Howard.
76.
Wild
What happened to
Lives.
Fallout 75 or 5
What?
to 75?
What happened to the fucking rest of them?
Sweet little
All right.
eyes.
I know
I'm gonna
Tom's
read.
hiding the flaws.
I'm gonna read just a small little bit of news. Bethesda has surprised fans by officially announcing the next entry in the beloved Fallout franchise, Fallout 76. After a day of online teases, it is revealed that the new project. After a day of online teases, it revealed the new project with a brief teaser trailer that offers some hints as to what to expect and what to look at. It's in its Vault 76 setting. I can't talk today. As Bethesda boss Todd Howard said just before it debuted, this is only meant to be a tease. More coming.
Todd is always a
E3
tease.
26. Something about Todd Howard being a cock tease does not surprise me whatsoever.
He lies to me all the time.
You know, I'm gonna throw a wild guess out there and say this is gonna be a battle royale game, despite without having any evidence to say that. I just got a feeling that
I think it's more-
it might be a battle royale game.
God, I fucking.
I
I've
think it
heard
might
it's
be
gonna be-
more base builder. Rustling. Yeah,
I
rustling.
think
I
it's
heard
going to be an
Base builder.
expanded version of the base builder and settlement tool.
Whatever it's gonna be, it's not gonna fucking matter in the Fallout universe because they made sure to have this only occur 20 years after the bombs drop.
Not gonna matter anyways because the Fallout universe is fucking irrelevant after Fallout 4. After fucking
After 4, okay. I
After
go a
3?
little bit further back. Jesus.
3.
New Vegas was good.
This might be a
Vegas
really
was good.
bad
Vegas
hot
like good
take.
lore.
This might be a really bad hot take, but I fucking hate the Fallout universe.
Yeah, well, that's what it's, I guess that's what it's like being wrong, Bannock.
I don't hate the Fallout universe. I just think it's really not necessarily inconsistent, but a lot of things just don't make that.
I
much
just think it
sense
lost
to
its
me.
way.
I don't know. I think it's fine, but yeah,
I mean, I guess
it's not that interesting. It's not.
It's
that
not interesting whatsoever.
Mhm.
Like, I honestly can't say the last time I've ever been excited about a Fallout game. I mean, New
Fallout
Vegas
4?
I think is still the best one, but no, I was not excited about Fallout 4.
I was excited for 4, and then I played it when I was under
Yeah?
a fever.
And then what happened?
I got mad.
And then
I
your
got-
fever turned into fucking super Ebola because Fallout 4 is awful.
And then I fucking
No,
hate
I got to the point in the story where you go see the white suited people. What are they called?
the
Institute?
underground
The
Nazis.
Institute. Yeah. So I get to that point where I see them, and then it's like, oh yeah, this is your son, the old dude. Spoilers. And it's like I'm like, okay, this I could have seen a long time ago, and then it just gets boring because there's like, okay, we've shown you everything there is in this game. There's no more surprises.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I don't know. I don't play Fallout for its surprises. I guess I don't really know what I play Fallout for these days, but
I only play New Vegas.
Big
like,
titty mods.
yeah. What'd you say?
I bought
not
Fallout
Skyrim,
3
dude.
like a year
Yeah,
or two
you
ago
can
because
use
it was
the
on
Skyrim.
sale, and I swear to God, I played a lot of Fallout 3 when I was like a kid when it first came out, but I can't do it anymore. I legit can't like bring myself to like play past the first like 30 minutes.
I still think
It's
New
really
Vegas,
slow.
New Vegas is, I think, is still a better version of that concept than anything fucking.
Oh yeah, I've
Well,
spent so many hours in
Most
it.
interesting
I-
world,
check.
for sure.
Take a look at the two studios that developed that game. We had Bethesda Game Studios, which I guess is just Todd Howard and his merry band of men and women. And then you had Obsidian, who is known for their more, I guess, classic Western RPGs, like, fucking.
Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Did they make that?
They made Knights of. I think they did make Knights of.
I
They made
guess
the
that
first
makes
one.
sense.
They
They
made the
made
first
like
one.
Old Republic.
I still think that New Vegas is a better game just because it implemented more RPG elements than more.
And didn't they tweet
action.
something really like? And weren't they tweeting like, "No, it's not us"?
Yeah,
It's
no.
not us.
When Fallout 76 was, I guess, teased, which was like Wednesday or something like that, Obsidian, their official Twitter account, was like, "How do you tell someone that it's not us?" And then the
And
entirety of the
everyone's
internet was
really
like, "Ah, fuck."
Fuck! It's gonna be bad.
But I mean, I guess it's not really surprising. They
I
just
mean-
put out Pillars of Eternity 2, and so
I'm still expecting some sort of Elder Scrolls news in E3. I know I'm going to be disappointed only because I have the sinking feeling that they're really desperately trying to make sure people keep going to Elder Scrolls Online. Even though it doesn't no longer have a monthly subscription, because my original idea was because of them having monthly subscriptions, they were going to force people to keep going there for their Elder Scrolls fix.
maybe. I guess my opinion on ESO Online, or I guess ESO, is that it's an okay, like, very casual MMO. Like, I played it for probably 50 hours or so, and I enjoyed myself for most of it. But I don't think it scratches the itch of either of, like, an MMO or an Elder Scrolls game. Like an Elder Scrolls game. I mean, maybe.
Time waster.
I guess we'll see. Like, I can't think of anything else that Bethesda is pushing out at E3 this year other than Rage 2?
Rage 2.
Elder
Like, Rage
Scrolls
2
Hammerfell.
The new ESO expansion.
Elder Scrolls Hammerfell.
It's gonna be Skyrim for mobile. They're gonna have Skyrim for mobile. I'm calling it.
Fallout
I'm
76.
gonna die on that hill.
They're bringing back Elder Scrolls Tales.
Report. Maybe. This year's fucking Skyrim report. But,
Skyrim
like,
Battle Royale.
I would not be surprised this year if at the end of the E3 presentation, if the lights got really low and then we heard, like, the fucking... We see fucking something Elder Scrolls.
Dovahkiin. It's gonna be fucking
I mean,
Skyrim.
maybe, but, like... Is it
They
hard
play
to
a different
like? Is
quirky
it so?
indie
Is it so
song.
hard to say that like a new like a mainline Elder Scrolls title is
Elder
maybe 3 years
Scrolls
away?
Hammerfell.
I guess I don't know.
I'm holding out for Elder
my-
Scrolls in like badass Arabian shit.
Like that'd be cool. I still don't give a shit about ESO, and I guess a lot of Bethesda titles I really just do not give a shit about, but
Yeah.
especially Fallout.
Bethesda's just
The
Bethesda's
only
just
thing
kind
that
of a
would
mediocre
somewhat
game
pique my
company.
interest.
Honestly, they're like, I don't even know if I can rank them better than Ubisoft. They're
Oh,
both
hell no.
They're both pretty. I don't know. They're both pretty bad in my opinion. I can't really rank one above the other.
Well,
They
okay,
both
if
just
you're
like.
gonna go like that, where you can't rank Bethesda above or below Ubisoft, let me tell you this: what game does Bethesda have that's the equivalent of Siege?
Oh, you're right. I forgot about Siege. Yeah, I don't know.
Because Rainbow Six
Ubisoft-
Siege, we've been
Ubisoft has a
sinking a
couple good
lot
games.
of time into a lot of absurd.
we
time.
have, but see, I have a hard time because I don't think that multiplayer games can stack up against single-player experiences.
Yeah, you're kind of you're comparing.
Like I think
you're
it's
comparing,
tomato, I think it's
Counter-Strike
apples
to-
and oranges, honestly.
Hmm.
Like you're not wrong. Like Ubisoft does not have the equivalent of.
Okay,
what a
well, I'm gonna
Siege
put on
would
my
be.
rose-tinted glasses and say that if I had the choice of experiencing the game for the first time between Siege or Oblivion, I'd pick Oblivion.
I would too. hands
Because I
down.
loved Oblivion. I liked it. And I
No,
But-
let me ask you this, Code. Would you, with those same rose-tinted glasses, have you ever played any Assassin's Creed games?
Yes.
The
Or,
first one.
The first one? Okay. Would you rather play that one for the first time or Oblivion for the first time?
Oblivion.
Ooh, probably still Oblivion.
Oblivion. Oh, no,
Yeah.
I can say that without flinching, only because the Assassin's Creed games still have this very bad knack of it being so fucking repetitive.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I still think that we're comparing apples and oranges again because
Well, I think
Assassin's Creed is an action game. Oblivion is a fucking RPG.
Well, I think it's definitely a better comparison than Siege and Oblivion. Most because the games Assassin's Creed 1 and Oblivion came out roughly at the same time. They're like 3 years
That's
apart,
not what
maybe.
I'm comparing. That's not what I'm comparing though. What I'm comparing is peak Bethesda versus peak Ubisoft, because I think right now we're at very peak Ubisoft.
Yeah, well, no, we're definitely at peak Ubisoft.
Which is
I mean,
kind of sad.
well, that's what here's what I was gonna say. So like we have our
Far Cry
Big time.
5 was pretty good, apparently.
big publishers. We have Activision. We have E3.
Yeah.
We have E3. We have EA, and we have
Ubisoft.
I guess Microsoft's in-house, whatever that fucking looks like.
Right
And
now
then
it's
Sony.
just third-party
Well, and
devs.
Sony. We're talking about like first party.
Okay.
I still think, and I always think that Ubisoft and Bethesda are kind of like this in between kind of like third party and like first party. Like neither of them. I guess
Yeah.
they are third party developers, but like, well, no, they are third. But like, you know what I'm saying? It's like they push out games that
They do
are
actually
very
develop.
good for both consoles, and then you have your indies, right? Your everything else after that. I still feel like we see a flux between like, and it's like a wave. Like whenever Ubisoft is doing well, Bethesda is kind of on the downswing, and I think that's where we are now. But give it 3 years, maybe 4 years, and we're gonna see Bethesda back on top, and Ubisoft kind of like in.
I don't
everybody.
agree. I don't
You
agree.
don't think so?
Here's my reason, Todd.
What
Gotta
about
get
what about?
Todd out of there.
I think Todd has lost it. Only because back in the day with Morrowind and even with Hammerfell, he was very passionate about telling stories. He was very passionate about building universes that are I think were on par with like tabletop experiences like Dungeons and Dragons and shit. You had like in Morrowind specifically, and I always bring up this example. Open a book in Skyrim and then open a book in Morrowind and tell me you can tell the difference between the two games instantly. You have Skyrim where you open up and you're lucky if you get 2 or 3 pages. But in Morrowind, it's like 8 pages in a single book, and you're like, I'm not reading this shit. But the point is that the story building was there, and I don't think Todd has it in him anymore.
I wouldn't say that Todd doesn't have it in him anymore. I think the focus for a lot of these AAA action
That's just a big
adventure
company now, dude.
RPG games, like if you look at Skyrim, like I know that we shit on Skyrim a lot for being like the biggest game that's ever been created, but like that thing is still pretty fucking huge. Like I have put multiple hundreds of hours of time into that game, and I still haven't touched everything. I think what it comes down to is the focus on what makes those games what they are.
I
Morrowind, yes. We won't even say Morrowind. We'll say what's the one before Morrowind?
Hammerfell?
No, it's not Hammerfell.
No.
Arena?
No, after Arena.
What? No,
Is it
there's-
Morrowind?
there's-
No, it is Sorry, not Morrowind.
If you're not counting the handheld experiences, then yeah,
You're right. It's Morrowind, Oblivion, and then Skyrim.
Yeah.
So if we're looking at Morrowind honestly felt more focused in its lore building and world building than Skyrim ever did, because Skyrim is 4 times the size.
don't agree.
That's a general, like, I don't know if it's exactly.
But is world size really an excuse to like skimp out on world building?
That's what I'm going with.
I absolutely think so. If you increase the world by 4 times, that means you have to fill it with 4 times as much shit.
But then why release it? If you know you were gonna release an inferior, like, especially in like a story-driven like genre like RPGs, if you know yourself as a game dev, I won't be able to make enough content to fill up this enormous world, then why release it? Why release a suboptimal product?
I'm gonna say why I don't really agree.
Okay, 1 second before you say that. I think Skyrim is action and exploration first, world building second. I think that Morrowind, the main focus, because this is what I see about a lot of like old style RPGs, is that it's very much world building and everything else first, right? Kind of building this idea of like D&D, you are the adventurer, right? We're gonna put you in a world and you're gonna explore it.
Well, then what are we arguing about? That's literally my argument, saying that Skyrim has lost its way, and that's a problem. And I think Todd himself has lost his way because these are his babies. The Elder Scrolls is not Bethesda. The Elder Scrolls is Todd Howard.
Sure. I think when you say like lost its way, I don't want to say lost its way. Maybe from like the original games.
I don't mean in an artistic sense, because I believe the artists should have like whatever they want to do. But I think if you put Morrowind and Skyrim side by side, you're like, these are 2 fucking different worlds. These aren't in the same universe.
And that's what I'm saying. I think the Elder Scrolls is whatever the fuck Todd Howard wants it to be. I think that the direction that it's been over the last, we'll say since Oblivion, maybe Skyrim much more, but Oblivion even a little bit, is different than the direction it was taking back in Morrowind. Right? I mean, we see Morrowind and a lot of these older RPGs. I feel like I'm getting a vibe that we see them in higher standard because we think, or we want RPGs to be this very deep experience, right? We want like the 8-page lore books, and we want that entire. But that's the thing. Like,
how many RPGs have we had nowadays that are like that anymore?
I mean, they still come out. I mean,
still come out.
Pillars of Eternity 2 just came out last month.
Yeah,
right?
but I mean, like a game like Morrowind or even Oblivion, we don't have those anymore.
Well, what's gonna sell more, Code? David.
Fuck you. I really don't have an argument for that, because that's literally what Todd's motive seems to be right now. Is it seems to be putting the money forward, and we see that with where he wants to charge 30% to sell mods.
Sure. And also, like, why else is he re-releasing Skyrim every other year, or like every 2 years? Because he knows it's gonna sell like fucking hotcakes.
I gotta stop in for 1 second. Do we know that Todd Howard is behind these decisions? Because, like, if you honestly think about it, making money is a corporate decision, right? Like, I feel like this is more Bethesda than Todd Howard.
Okay, I mean, that's fair enough. But, I mean, I feel like at some point, this is me personally. Let's say I made a game. I made a fucking video game that was so fucking good, everyone lost their shit, like, everyone and their mom bought it. It's like, the game of the decade. And, I feel like if the company I worked for, like, was just gonna ignore me for, like, if I had new ideas for, maybe a sequel, or just a new universe entirely, and it's like, no, we're just gonna kind of redo, like, the success of, like, that first game. And even though I personally have, like, other brand new ideas I could possibly, like, sell even better, I would just quit at that point. I would find, like, obviously my game was successful enough, I could probably find employment in a different company. So I feel like Todd
exactly what Hideo Kojima did.
Yeah, and I feel like if Todd had any sense of like integrity, and if you're right, he isn't the one making like these decisions. I feel like the onus is still on him to like either leave Bethesda, or do something besides
if his
allow
baby,
Skyrim to be re-released.
If his baby's been robbed from him, then it's sad, really, that he's wanting to stick around and try to see if anything goes through. But really, I don't believe that, because tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies, Todd still stands up on the stage and tells us like the sky and the moon for these games.
Yes. So here's my counter argument. And it's who's to say that Todd doesn't want to push out those games anymore, right? Like his idea, and this is just like when the Elder Scrolls came out, like it was this thing that was bigger than any other game on the market, right? Like the idea was like Hammerfell, right? I can visit 600 different towns. That's fucking insane. Like if that was Todd's driving force, I can't blame him for wanting to make Skyrim, because it's basically that, but 50 times better.
Counterpoint. Fuck off. Counterpoint. If he did have any like soul left in the series, why did Fallout 4 have so many retcons?
Well, I mean, I guess we're talking about Skyrim versus. I
We're talking about games that are specifically Todd's baby, and that is right now Fallout and Skyrim.
But is Fallout Todd's baby? Like, that thing has been shipped off to plenty of other studios.
If that motherfucker gets on stage talking about fucking Vault 76, you're gonna eat my fucking socks.
I mean, he's going to do it, so you might as well ship those things here.
Well, now. I mean, Todd Howard created the Elder Scrolls universe, correct?
Yes.
Let me get back to you on that.
But he definitely did not create the Fallout universe.
Yeah, but
like the original Fallout 1 and 2 universe.
Yeah, but he's now executive producer for them.
Exactly. It's like, if someone just handed me like a fucking universe like on a platter and said, "All right, it's yours now," like, I mean, it's mine. Like, I can do whatever I want with it. I feel like I personally wouldn't feel as much of a connection to that particular franchise as opposed to like a franchise I created from the ground up.
So, let me step in for a second. Todd Howard did not create or lead the original Elder Scrolls games.
Okay.
He joined Bethesda in 1994.
Okay.
He was first game. Let me see. His first game development credit for Bethesda was producer and designer of the Terminator, Future Shock, Skynet, followed by design on the Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall. So he's been involved with ESO since 1996.
So he's clearly had a lot of, investment in Elder Scrolls. Regardless.
He was a project lead and designer of Morrowind. He led the creation on Oblivion.
He's been there. He's been around.
But my point still stands. He still has much more investment in the Elder Scrolls than he does like Fallout. In my opinion.
I would say too. I don't know.
In my opinion.
He has been director for Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, and we all agree here that Fallout 3 was kind of a little bit doo-doo.
Fallout 3?
We should
Fallout 3.
We should move on to the next news story. It's
Fuck
here as well.
We're okay. I mean, we're.
I don't think Fallout 3 was complete doo-doo, but I think
that out in post.
I feel like they were trying to be too safe with the lore, and they tried not touching too much. But at the same time, they ended up just stomping on whatever they had.
I'll let you drive, Binnick.
Okay, so two things before we. I agree with Trevor. We should maybe move on to another topic here real quick. So I want to ask two questions. Like, I want from you four. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You 5. Sorry. Who is actually interested in Fallout 76? Like, David?
Anyone? I doubt any of us are.
I mean,
I'm not saying like,
interested.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna buy that
Define
shit.
interested. Okay.
But like,
no.
Is your interest at least peaked?
I'll start.
Peaked.
I'll start. If big fucking if it's Fallout in the sense of it's Fallout 3, it's Fallout 4 or whatever, that it's another one that's an RPG. I'm interested. I'm on board. I'll buy it day one because I'm a fucking consumer whore. Okay. But if it's like the rumors say, where it's a survival game that's multiplayer, I'm not on board. I'll wait for it to go on sale. Maybe.
That's fine. Windsor.
I'm willing to give it a chance. I guess we'll just wait until E3 to see more news about it. But as of right now, I'm not really that interested in it. But I'm looking forward to more news about it and making a decision. from there.
Good Wolfo? He gone.
He did.
He
Tortilla time!
He died.
Good
Tortilla
Wolfo.
time.
Trevor.
He's dead. Probably not. Either way, no matter what it looks like, I'm not gonna buy it till 2-3 weeks afterwards, because not gonna get burned again. Not gonna let Todd do that to me.
Yeah.
I think for me, this goes on the probably won't purchase list. Unless,
Depends on E3 and the reviews.
Yeah, unless
people
all
I
of you
trust.
start playing it, tell me it's the best thing ever, it probably will not get purchased. Okay, second question. What's your opinion on Todd Howard? I want one sentence. David.
Tell me lies. Tell me sweet little lies.
Very good. John?
He's
Windsor?
he's a little slimy.
Sure?
He seems like a well-intentioned guy who just sort of goes through life and, like, promises these things, and maybe he believes them. But he's definitely in it for the money.
Red Wolfo?
If he's here.
Tortilla
I don't
time.
think he's here.
Tortilla? He's not here. I think I have a higher standing on Todd Howard than any of y'all. I don't honestly blame him for all of this. I honestly think that, like, the projects that he's pushing out is probably something that he's very passionate about, and for that, I wish him the best.
Okay, Ryan, I have a question. I have a counterpoint to Ryan. This is a very sincere question.
Go ahead.
I need to know what it's like to be a fucking cuck.
As the person who probably will not fucking buy this game.
Okay.
I guess I don't know.
I will say the reason I think Todd Howard is kind of slimy is because, I mean, when you say shit like, you know, when Skyrim first came out, he was like, you see those mountains over there, you can go climb it. Like, he's either really naive and like legitimately believes that, and like if that's the case, then I guess I can applaud his passion for it. But at the same time, it's like, dude, come on. But the alternative is he knows damn well like it's not that deep, and he's just fucking lying. He's just like legit lying.
Okay, I think what I look at it, whenever he does something like that where it's like he's obviously peddling shit. I work in marketing, so the one thing that I always dread is when an executive says we're going to do something and it's the stupidest fucking idea in the world, and he's not listening to reason or anything, and I'm like, shit, I still got to sell this somehow. When you go the whole, you see that mountain, you can climb it. That's me standing at an information table, trying to say anything.
That's marketing. No, that's 100% marketing.
That's 100% marketing.
It's different for you and I because like we come from marketing backgrounds. Like, we understand that, like, the shit that people shovel at us is not what it's about. And I think that's what makes a lot of this, like, unique, is that, like, you and I think a lot of us here, like, understand that when we purchase something, it's not necessarily based on the marketing that's shoved at us. At least for the most part. I guess we get tricked every once in a while, but...
Oh yeah,
I get tricked a lot.
I've been tricked.
Yeah, you wanna fucking talk about Metal Gear Survive again, you motherfucker?
I didn't get tricked on that one.
$40 fucking on that game.
I played the shit out of it because, like, what was there? It was not a Metal Gear game at all. In any sense, it was a fucking shit show. It was not a Metal Gear game. I'm still mad about it. But the beta, I had fun, and then I played the game.
I hate you
and I still had fun, and it's not my fault that you didn't play the game and that you didn't want to play co-op with me. It's not my fault, and so I have to ask you again, what's it like to be a cuck?
Speaking
Look, I wouldn't agree. I wouldn't agree to buying Metal Gear Survive most because I vehemently, like, I fucking loathe Konami, just like as a company, and I wouldn't want to give it down to them, like, ever.
You're all bitches.
That's
Speaking
of Konami!
Oh my...
Well,
no!
Or David.
I am taking the wheel. I do want to talk about that one leak.
Which one?
The one Konami leak.
No, that's not happening.
Metal Gear
that
Solid,
game is not happening.
Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake.
We'll do it next week.
Shut the fuck up for 6 seconds. We can talk about this. That's fine. I need to preface everyone listening right now that the leak that this motherfucker is specifically talking about is so far from the truth that it's so not gonna happen.
It was obviously some person in Photoshop or Word or whatever saying, what does everyone want? And then he just types it.
Oh, okay, so please explain for everybody what the fuck you're talking about. We got 5 minutes to talk about this.
I don't remember any of the other games, so if anyone here wants to help me out, I don't remember any game, but I saw the MGS3 remake, and I was like, I'd be okay with that. Yeah, Konami's the fucking devil, but I'd be okay with that. Only because
one of them said. One of the other games is Hideo Kojima comes out on stage and shows gameplay of Death Stranding.
I remember that. He doesn't show it. He plays it.
Yeah, he comes out and plays it in front of the audience.
My question is, for a fucking MGS3 remake, why? Like, why would they do that? I mean, it seems like it would just cause them so much controversy, and like especially since like the fact that they released a Metal Gear branded game, Metal Gear Survive, that fucking sucks.
I don't
understand why they would devote resources into making MGS3 remake, even if they're using like Fox Engine and all this shit. I
have two reasons. One reason I'm not going to say because of legal reasons, but the other reason is because simply that they're blind. No. The other reason is, hold on, I'll type it out in chat. We'll all look at this.
Fucking can't type it out in chat.
Yakuza tinfoil. Fucking Yakuza tinfoil.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe no, because you had that thing a couple years ago where Gearbox was making that shitty Alien game, and then there was this giant. Like it was the Yakuza who were trying to fucking launder money or some shit like that, and then you had the Gearbox. You had Randy Pitchford who was threatening legal action against people spreading the rumor.
Talk about
God.
It was so fucking insane,
right,
and it's like
here's the final fucking thoughts on this. The game will never fucking happen. There is no Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. Konami is out of the fucking game business. There's no Kojima.
Counterpoint.
I will leave this with a fat asterisk.
Counterpoint.
If Konami wanted to make some fat fucking money right now, why the fuck wouldn't they put this game out on the Fox Engine?
Counterpoint. Konami counterpoint. You have the pachinko machines. Let's talk about the pachinko machines. Yeah. They have Metal Gear Solid 3 pachinko.
Yeah, they do. I remember they came out. I was actually really sad when I watched because it's like, damn, like this game is like
they have a cutscene
gambling. Like
the cutscenes they used were obviously in Fox Engine.
Yeah, they were completely redone in Fox Engine. They look great.
And it was specifically done
for
a pachinko machine.
Time's back.
Yeah, where'd you go? You missed giving some
Taco
valuable
Time's
input.
over! He helped his mom and dad put the
I was busy.
groceries over.
He's helping his fucking dogs, alright?
Okay. All right, let's move on to the next thing.
Alright, fucking Jesus
All right,
Christ.
next piece of news, baby.
No more news. We're getting to the fucking meat of tonight.
Oh yeah, okay.
Everybody, because
What meat?
Oh,
Meat
God.
and potatoes.
we talked too much about fucking Todd Howard and his beautiful little face.
I love Todd. I love when Todd lies to me.
I love when he fucking tells me
Show the dead
untruth.
singer on the screen right
I'm glad I bought all of his games
Multiple times.
multiple times.
How does everybody feel about fucking... God, I'm already getting mad. How does everybody feel about these new fucking Pokemon games that are coming out?
now. Yeah.
I mean,
I have zero
I'm still a
opinion.
little confused as to what Pokemon
I don't-
Let's Go is. Like,
Yeah,
it's
same.
supposed to be, it's not really Pokemon Go, because you're still playing on a screen.
Pokemon, let's go to the
Okay.
holes.
Okay, before we continue, I need to preface this. This week, Wednesday maybe? Wednesday. Wednesday or Tuesday probably. The folks over at the Game Freak and the Pokemon Company announced 2 fucking Pokemon games for both the Nintendo Switch and mobile? Like, that was kind of up in the air. I guess I haven't really dug into it too deep outside of, like, the 15 minutes I did before tonight.
Amazing research.
my amazing research. So, Pokemon Quest. I'm gonna read you what I'm seeing right now on Polygon. Instead of the traditional RPG style of the previous Pokemon games, Pokemon Quest is designed to be a mobile game. There's no overarching storyline or human NPCs or even familiar graphics. The game relies more on time management than battle strategy. And like with most mobile games, there's a lot of wanting to be involved. Okay, so like what I'm seeing right now in front of me is like it's fucking Minecraft graphics with Pokemon characters slapped in.
So it's
Who knows what the loop
typical.
is,
It's
but, like-
typical mobile free to play shit.
Maybe. Okay.
Now,
more.
I have no opinion on Pokemon. I didn't even play it as a kid, really.
There's more though. That wasn't the only thing they fucking announced.
Wait, what was that again? What was that called?
Pokemon Quest.
Pokemon
So
Quest.
something completely new, right?
That's a bummer. I actually didn't know that much about Quest, and like what you just told me was stuff I knew, and I'm kind of bummed now because I was expecting Quest to be like a lot more deep, or like a lot like
Yeah, you'd
more,
expect with a name like Quest,
a more like you
you'd
know.
actually be going on a quest.
Yeah, I don't know. I was expecting some like really big like open world Pokemon shit. That would be interesting.
Let me tell you more, because there's more news from this week out of the fucking game company.
All right,
Fucking
all right.
Game Freak, the Pokemon company.
The game company.
What is Pokemon Let's Go? Pokemon : Let's Go. Described by director Junichi Masuda as a remake of Pokemon Yellow, the first Pokemon titles for Switch will take us back to the Kanto region, where the original
Fucking
Pokemon games were set.
Kill me.
Players will start off at Pallet Town, meet Professor Oak, and encounter the 151 original Pokemon. In addition, elements of the Pokemon anime will appear, notably Team Rocket and specific characters. Here's the shit. There's always shit tied to this shit. From what I've seen so far on these like release trailers is that it's very integrated with the current Pokemon Go ecosystem. So I guess if you've been living under a rock, Pokemon Go, the mobile game that Game Freak pushed out with Niantic.
Okay.
I mean,
Everybody does.
How is it
I'm saying.
integrated? How is it integrated?
You can take your Pokemon in this fucking. So they've got a Pokeball now, like a physical Pokeball that you can buy for fucking
Okay.
way too much money, probably.
Okay, no.
Take
wait,
your
wait,
Pokemon
wait.
out of the game.
Wait,
It's $50.
wait. Okay, how is it integrated? You said integrated. You said integrated with Pokemon Go.
Okay, so what I can tell is like you can take the Pokemon that have been in your Pokemon fucking Go and you could play them in the fucking actual game.
That
Like-
sounds dope to me.
No, that's
But okay. Oh, David, do you play Pokemon Go?
Mm.
What?
What is
that's
that?
probably
Is
the
that a
hardest
or no?
yes out of anybody else in this fucking chat right now.
I don't know.
No, I
Okay,
mean,
let's start with this because we're gonna get off topic. Pokemon Quest, okay? I want to hear your thoughts on this. Like,
it's garbage. That's all of our thoughts of Pokemon Quest.
no, that's not true because I think I'm more excited for Pokemon Quest than I am for this new
Well,
Pokemon.
you're
I don't know
wrong.
anything about
You're
Pokemon
wrong.
Quest.
Yeah, and that's why I'm excited. Every Pokemon we've gotten since fucking Pokemon Blue has
What?
been the same goddamn fucking
What?
game.
You're cheering for a free to play cash grab.
Yeah,
Pokemon
because it ain't
Quest.
fucking Pokemon anymore.
If Pokemon Quest isn't like some fucking open world or at least like wider world Pokemon game. If it's not that, I'm gonna be fucking disappointed.
I
I'm
don't
gonna be
want to fucking play Pokemon.
Well, then why are you?
Well then,
I have a question for you. I have a question
Nope.
for you. What's it like being a cock?
Where's your
Point.
childhood?
It has
Like,
nothing.
Code's
It
catchphrase,
has
everybody.
absolutely nothing to do with me not wanting to play Pokemon. I can promise that.
That's not even a catchphrase. It's me. It's my extensive exposure to Bennick.
No. I mean, okay, so I do not think the core game loop of what we consider Pokemon, the catching, training, and battling of Pokemon, the three pillars, is interesting in any aspect. I think it's fucking boring.
So I ask again.
Yeah?
Yeah. No.
What?
I'm not gonna ask you because you know. Counterpoint. You're full of shit. No, I mean, if it's not appealing to you, it's not appealing to you. I know. I know a lot of people that's not appealing to, but you seem to be saying the whole game's shit, despite the amount of people that do like it.
Yeah, well, that's completely different. It's like, if people want to eat up the same shit that they've been eating up for the last 20 years,
Counterpoint. Last Pokemon
what?
game I had was Pokemon Yellow.
that...
Last Pokemon I played was
Whatever.
X and Y.
yeah, same.
Okay,
X and Y.
here's my
I
argument.
didn't finish X.
Here's my argument. The core loop of Pokemon has been the same thing since Pokemon Blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Like, I mean, but that's
Bennick,
like
how many
that's the
MMOs have
point.
you been into?
The core game loop of Mario has been the same since Super Mario.
You jump!
I know. We're
I
gonna
can't
we're gonna
believe
for
it.
it. No,
Okay,
hold on.
No. Shut the fuck up for 1 second. Trevor, you're not right. You jump, you collect a thing. at least how you jump and the way that you jump, the thing that you collect, and the stages that you're going through has changed over the last 20 years.
How
I
you
will
fight,
agree that
how
Content
you
on
click.
each Pokemon game has
The
changed
Pokemon
over the
fighting
years.
is all about that shit, man.
And they add, and like with Pokemon, with each generation, they usually add like new types, new moves,
They
new
rebalance
Pokemon.
everything with each generation as well.
Like, that's why I really don't like the argument that fucking Pokemon, like every Pokemon game is the same. And I'm like,
Why
yeah,
do you-
sure, you're like, yeah, sure, like you do the same shit, but like the content is not the same at all.
At the most basic point, it's the same. But
The core,
there are
the core loop of CS:GO is you click your mouse. Why do you play that?
Because the skill ceiling is 5,000 times higher.
Okay, so Pokemon takes no skill, no thinking,
There
no
is
Well, it's a kids
rational
game. Like
thought.
it's not supposed to take like a lot of
there
skill.
are competitive modes in Pokemon.
Yeah,
Pokemon adds online.
yeah.
Online.
You can make Pokemon really competitive and complex if you really want to. If you really want to get into like the nitty gritty competitive scene, but if you're just like a casual and you're just like, oh, I like my Cyndaquil, it's it's fun. It's
Here's
fun.
what I'll
It's a fun
say.
game.
My opinion, biased for whatever it is, I mean, this is just some dumb fucking nerd's opinion on all of this right now.
You're damn right.
I do not think that, and this is what it boils down to, I think. I do not think the collecting and training of Pokemon is fun, because I think that loop is very fucking repetitive. I think that, like, walking over and, like, trying to collect this specific Pokemon and training it to be a thing is not fun. Like, I don't see that as gameplay. I see that as a chore. Right? And I guess this is how I feel about Pokemon in general.
Wait. How much time do you put into MMOs?
Yeah, but that I feel like is,
Do you work for the in between, or do you work specifically to get to the end game content?
but I feel like that is different because my
How is it different?
My grind in an MMO results to something, right?
Okay.
Whether that be a piece of something, like a piece of gear that I can show off to everybody to show that I put all this time into, or this idea that like I've spent 100 hours perfecting
okay? Let's
something.
replace the word gear with Pokemon. Let's replace end game content with the Elite Four. It's the same shit.
Or in the case of Emerald, you get the Battle Frontier.
See, but
There
I
you go.
don't think it's the same shit because I feel like the reward you get in an MMO for putting 100 hours into a game is shown to more people than it ever will be in Pokemon. Like if I put 100 hours into training my Pokemon, who's gonna fucking know or care outside of like me? I beat the Elite Four. Congratulations.
Well, I mean, you just said it. You just said so yourself. Like, if you find personal enjoyment and like that self satisfaction after beating like the Elite Four or like the Battle Frontier on Emerald, like that shit's hard. Like the Battle Frontier's fucking hard, and like if you like eventually work and like spend like hours and hours training all your Pokemon and like developing the strategy for every single fight, I'm sure you feel fucking great, like, after you spent, like, hours training your Pokemon and, like, countless tries, in those battles. I mean, I live for that shit. It's sort of the same thing with Dark Souls. It's like, you keep doing this thing over and over again until you finally beat it out of, like, either luck or skill, or whatever combination of the two, and it feels good. It feels good in your brain. It releases dopamine.
Sure. My argument to that is I feel like the skill ceiling in like a Dark Souls or something like that, the technical skill involved will always outweigh the mental skill involved.
You're comparing a children's game.
It's not necessarily, that
It's
the
for
two games are equally
children.
hard. It's just that they're.
It's a game for fucking children.
And you're comparing it to Dark Souls. What the fuck?
Yeah, but like I feel like those arguments could be set across. Like,
I'm just,
and this is me again. I find technical skill to be way more of a driving factor when I want to play a game. Dark Souls, fighting games.
How
especially.
is technical skill in an MMO? You click your macro, you
I'm not-
leave,
no,
you
no,
get
no.
a drink, and you
I'm
come
not-
back.
MMOs, no, we're not talking about MMOs right now, because MMOs I think are a little bit different. MMOs, I feel like are tied to like this 50-50 between like optimization and knowing what you're getting into, and 50% like execution.
You're telling me this, but this is like Pokemon.
Which is not... Pokemon has nothing to do with execution.
It does
which
it?
is probably
Of course it does.
Of course it does. Timing. If you get too low of a health, I know the typical cycle is fight. Okay, you get hit. Now you have to time exactly when you're gonna heal. Can you throw in a couple more punches? You're gonna waste something.
That is not execution. Execution is like play a fighting game, right?
Basically, what your core argument is that the core gameplay loop of Pokemon does not require skill, or
Yes, maybe that's what it is. I'm saying, like, if you compare the two, like, Dark Souls is about reading your opponent and knowing when to strike.
Wait.
On a
Dark
10
Souls is about dodging.
Hold on.
every 10 seconds at a time.
Hold on. The comparison you're making is specific that I made specifically was between an MMO. Specifically, I'm thinking of Final Fantasy XIV and Pokemon. When you tell me that there is no skill and that it's repetitive, when I'm playing Final Fantasy XIV, it's hella repetitive when you're in a fight, because it's like if you're playing a specific class, there is an optimum thing you're gonna do, and that's the only thing you're gonna do. If you deviate from it, you fuck up, and your entire fucking the group you're with just shits on you.
So, two things. I don't think that's true. I think that, like, when it comes to any MMO, you're always gonna have your core loop of what your DPS.
We're not talking about any MMO. We're talking about a specific one.
There is always a reaction involved with your fight, right? Someone's gonna fuck up. If you're playing healer, right, especially, and this is one of the reasons I love playing healer, you need to react to the situation, right? Whether that be throwing a heal at a stray black mage that didn't fucking move, or, you know, pulling them out of a situation that they wouldn't be able to get out to on their own. Here's what I'll say. And
so the
again, this is a me thing, I will say. I don't like a lot of games that require that their loop is, all right, you need to make a decision. You have all the time you need to make that decision, right? Pokemon, right? If I'm fighting the Elite Four, every turn I have as much time as I need to work out those situations.
You're the asshole that ruined Final Fantasy, aren't you? Everything needs to be on a timer now.
I mean, maybe that's a discussion for a different day, but here's what I'll say. I think the core loop of Pokemon hasn't changed enough for me to be anything interested in.
You're angry that Pokemon has stayed Pokemon. And yet we're bitching earlier about Oblivion and Morrowind changing.
Well, I personally, I don't know if you guys ever played this game called Custom Robo, but
no, shut the fuck up. We're not talking about your
Pokemon.
We're not talking about your Weibo games.
We're talking about Pokemon.
I don't want to hear about Digimon. I don't want to hear about any of this third-party.
No Yu-Gi-Oh.
The only
Not
Pokemon
no
I played
Yu-Gi-Oh
was one
either.
of the original Game Boy ones.
I want some
I think
fucking
it was the white one.
Nintendo Pikachu-looking ass Pokemon.
I want to take my Pikachu
don't
in
want
my
that.
Pokeball and take him on the go. Let's
So,
go.
Do you think the Pokemon Go shit is the only way to capture Pokemon? Because that would piss me off.
No, I don't.
don't mind it.
No.
And the trailer shows
Yeah,
that.
in the trailer it looks like you can play the entire game without
Okay,
actually
the only
using
thing that
Pokemon
the
Go.
only
Without
thing that's
ever
kind of
having to step
shitty-
outside.
The only thing that's
Yeah.
kind of shitty about it how it's just in Kanto again. Like we can't
Yeah.
we can't go see a different part of the world.
Oh, I'm
really
sorry,
fucking
I'm sorry,
bummed
baby.
about that.
You started Gen 2?
No, I just think Kanto's overdone as fuck. I don't hate Kanto.
I'm just waiting for
I
the
like Kanto.
Pokemon
They
that
literally hold on.
brings all
To
of the
quote-
condoms
to quote
together.
the article Bennett read. To quote the article Bennett read, it is a redo of Pokemon Yellow.
Yeah. Which, I mean, you know,
Where did it
fine.
take place? Tell me where it took place.
It's Kanto. I know it's. I know
Okay,
it's
what
gonna
are
be
we
set in
arguing
Kanto.
about? It's a fucking redone of fucking Pokemon Yellow. What do you want from me?
But you know, whatever. I'll probably buy it eventually. Maybe. I don't know.
I'm not gonna buy it. I don't really care.
I don't know. I will agree that Pokemon's gotten a bit boring
Stale?
to me.
It's
over
gotten
the years.
stale.
It's
It's
definitely
gotten
gotten
stale
boring.
to me.
That's for sure.
But the
We'll
first
say
time,
stale.
but the first time you play it, I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
If that's what you're into.
I mean, if I'm
absolutely.
putting on my nostalgia
Bennett, you're not
goggles
allowed
on,
to talk, Mr. MMO. Let me press one. Let me press my one macro that does
If I'm
everything
putting-
for me, and I can just leave.
if I'm putting my fucking nostalgia goggles on right now, I'll probably say that like Pokemon Emerald is like one of the best games I've ever played. Like if I'm looking through those nostalgia goggles,
I
'Cause,
loved
like, it. It was a great fucking Pokemon game because like okay,
I'm gonna. Here's my counterpoint. I had Emerald. I lied earlier when I said my last Pokemon bought was Yellow. That's-
big lie.
Big lie. Yeah. Tell me
Big
lies.
lie.
Tell me sweet.
I'm
Whatever.
powered up in here.
I had Emerald, and the problem is I didn't finish Emerald because this is agreeing with Bennick. The game is basically the same, and the first time I played it, it was amazing. And then I didn't play Pokemon for maybe several years after that, but when I went back to it, I felt that again. It was like, oh, here's the gameplay I missed, and I like it now.
Sure. I mean,
So to go with it, Emerald, with your fucking rose-colored glasses, Emerald isn't shit, but the difference between Emerald, my experience with Yellow and your experience with Yellow with Emerald is nothing.
Sure.
So you can't say Emerald's the best. It's Yellow, motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean that's why I preface say I'm putting on my nostalgia goggles when I say that opinion, because right now, with what I know now, I mean Emerald's it's a good game.
And
so
that's the thing. I don't agree that it's nostalgia goggles, because that was fun I had with Yellow, and I think that's fun you had with Emerald. It just happened to be your first Pokemon game. If you grabbed it again today, you'd be like, oh, I know what's going on. There's no discovery for me.
Yeah, exactly. But I will say, I think what I really liked about each new Pokemon game, which is also kind of its downfall because it was the only thing that each new Pokemon game had going for it, is the new content. I like exploring every part of the new continent that they release. I like at least encountering all the new Pokemon they released, and hell, maybe even catching a couple of them that I personally enjoy or like. But you're right, Code. After that, after you've done it once, it's okay, why do this again? And that's one thing Pokemon suffered from. It's there's no reason to play it over again. Once you beat the Elite Four or whatever post-game content there is, you're just kind of done with that game. And maybe you're just done with Pokemon forever, or you wait until Game Freak releases the next generation.
So, did you ever get Mewtwo?
Did I ever get Mewtwo?
Yeah.
On Red or?
I want to see who did you ever get the final fucking hidden Pokemon or whatever the fuck it was in Emerald?
Whatever.
Oh, Deoxys or fucking Latios or Latia? I don't know. I mean, I've gotten.
It was Rayquaza or whatever, right?
Yeah, I mean, Rayquaza was legendary, which I got.
We in our city now?
What?
What?
Thank you, Bennick. Thank you for that little whimper. Rayquaza. That was the thing that always got me with the later generations, was just the weird ass names, and I stopped liking the designs.
Okay, Code. Let me ask you something real quick.
Huh?
How do you pronounce the name of the Pokemon that is on the cover of Pokemon Emerald?
Rayquaza.
Oh my god, no! You're fucking. I'm not gonna say because I see it in my head.
No. David, I need you to tell me how you pronounce it.
No, I see a part of the name in my head, but I don't know the full name. So,
Well, look it up.
I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up.
Just look it up. I don't care if you know it right now or not. I just want to know how you would pronounce it.
Rayquaza.
Rayquaza.
Okay. I thought for a second I thought you were laughing because I was pronouncing
More
it
like
Rayquaza.
Rayquaza.
No, I was just more making just a general joke of the name, because it's so
it's
it's so ghetto.
There's Rayquaza. Oh, I got it now. Oh god.
Jesus, Bennick on it. He just did a whimper when I said it.
Oh god. There's Deoxys and Jirachi in that generation specifically.
Jirachi.
There's Jirachi, Deoxys, Latias, which I got one of those two Pokemon because it's a random thing. With Latias and Latias, you get it randomly.
Also, I'm wrong. I didn't have Emerald. What did I have? Oh,
Ruby,
Ruby, Sapphire.
No, I had Crystal.
Crystal. Oh, those are older.
Yeah, dude, I'm old.
Crystal and
It was gold. It's gold, silver, and crystal.
yeah, gold, silver, crystal.
My sister had gold and I had crystal, because it's continuing. I had yellow, so I had crystal, and so I probably would have had emerald. But then I said, "Fuck this shit" until X and Y. No, black and white is when I came back.
I fucking hated Gen 5. I hated black.
Didn't
I
like it
hated
at all.
white. I hated black and I bought black and white too, just to give it another try. I'm like, wow, this still sucks a lot.
But Sun and Moon I liked. I really liked Sun and Moon.
I didn't play Sun and Moon. I
Didn't
quit
play
after
it.
X and Y.
Well,
X and
I
Y, yeah,
didn't
was
buy
my
Sun and
cut
Moon,
off.
but I hacked my 3DS and downloaded it.
Hey now.
Hey now, what?
That's stealing.
Amazing.
Well, it makes you feel better. I actually went and bought it after I realized I enjoyed it.
Piracy.
Gross.
No, I do that. If it's something I pirate it to try it out, and then if I like
Yeah, I
it,
do
I end
too.
up going to buy it, because it's like,
I'll admit it. I'll admit it. I do that too.
I do not.
I'll admit it. I stole the game. What are you
I
fucking
don't
do
like.
about it?
I don't like that a lot of games have stopped doing demos, and instead we have like these timed betas or whatever. Because I remember
Fucking early access.
Yeah, because I grew up very poor. I grew up very poor, so it was like all I had was demos. Like for the PlayStation 2, when they sold demo discs for $5, I bought that shit.
I had a couple demo discs.
Because it was like, oh god, this is the only time I'm gonna ever figure out if I like different genres or whatever. And I still remember getting like ripped off by a Walmart guy who didn't want to sell me Grand Theft Auto 3 because I was too young. My parents, he's like, you gotta go get your parents to see if they can get you this. And I'm like, are you fucking for real? And so I go to my parents, and my parents come, and they're like, yeah, you shouldn't get this for your son. It's for mature only. And I'm like, you motherfucker. I just looked at him like, you piece of shit. And my parents are like, well, we're not getting you it. What do you want? Final Fantasy X, I guess. And I ended up liking it, so whatever. Alright!
I miss the good old days of renting.
I don't.
Oh, yeah,
I had a video game renting store just like down the street. It was
I have
amazing.
fucking memories ingrained in my fucking little brain wrinkles of like being like 5 years old, and like every time my mom would go grocery shopping, she would go to the same Kroger, and this Kroger just so happened to have a Blockbuster inside of it. So like every Friday, like I'd be picked up from fucking I don't know, like preschool or some shit, or like I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I was young. And she'd be like, "All right, you can pick out a game to rent."
When I was 18, I remember I was real excited because like I'm 18, and I went to Hollywood Video, and I'm like, I want to get an account opened up, and I wanted the card and shit. And then I applied, I did everything, I rented a couple movies, I came back, and then I kept renting whatever. And this went on for about maybe a month and a half, and then they went bankrupt.
Hell yeah!
I never got the card. I wanted that card so bad. Because I knew like this shit was on its way out, and I'm like, I want proof that I was part of it at least. Because I remember back in like, because again, I was fucking poor as shit. My parents would always take me to Best Buy. I mean, not the Blockbuster, to rent Nintendo 64 games.
Oh, me too.
Remember when people said the thing that was gonna kill Blockbuster was Redbox? Remember when Redbox was a thing?
It's still a thing. What are you talking
Still
about?
a thing. What are you talking about, Trevor?
Yeah, I know they're everywhere, but
Fucking upper middle class
Remember
motherfucker.
Redbox?
I don't know what those pores are doing
Remember
down
before
there.
we used to just
is that
rent movies off of our phones and put them on our fucking TV?
But I remember, like, it was so absurd to me, like, when I started realizing how much money was, that I'm like, my parents literally rented me Blast Cores, like, maybe 300 times in a fucking year. And I'm just like, why didn't you just fucking buy me the game?
Yeah, because it's time to get fucking moving, motherfucker.
Time to get moving. It was like, that shit was dope to me. It was that game and Chopper Attack that I fucking rented the shit out of.
All I rented was Kirby 64 and Paper Mario.
I rented Paper Mario like in the ass end of Blockbuster's life. Well, that specific one.
Does all the time.
And it was like, all right, fine, just brush me off. Let's go. Let's go.
Go.
No,
Finish
we're
it,
good.
Closing thoughts.
Pokemon is alright.
Pokemon's alright.
Pokemon's
It's
alright. It's a little boring.
I'm not too hopeful on these two games, but I hope they're good.
Wow, we
I'm
went to
not
the middle
invested
of
in the
discussion. We didn't even go to
series.
the
That's the thing.
beginning. We didn't talk about Todd or anything. Just right away, Pokemon.
I
Wait a minute.
I didn't like Fallout 4. I probably won't like Fallout 76.
We're talking about Todd.
Uh,
Kiddos, closing thoughts?
Video games, they're alright.
Video games are alright, and Bennick is always wrong.
E3, 8 days. We'll see what else is next.
Yeah,
E3,
when you get
8
hyped for
days.
E3, get your vodka ready because you're
I'm
gonna need a lot of it.
I'm gonna
excited.
be working the first day, and I'm not excited for that.
We'll talk about E3 next week.
We'll talk about it next
Maybe-
week.
Bring your juiciest E3 predictions.
Are we gonna
We'll
meet?
finally get rid of-
I want predictions.
Are we gonna meet back same time Friday night?
Same time, Friday. Don't give away our secret.
Maybe
What do you mean our
we'll get
secret?
rid of the Oscars.
This is probably gonna
this
come out
E3.
in like 3 days, and they're gonna be like, "What are
No
they
more
talking
Oscars.
about? This is old news." We
Depends
found
on
out
how
that
fast you
Metal
can
Gear
edit
Solid
it.
3 is a thing, the remake.
I
It
swear
really
to
is a
God.
thing. These guys are retarded.
If Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake comes out in the time that we drop this on the internet, I will eat my fucking shoe.
Likewise,
I will blow
likewise,
out
they're like
Ryan's
this.
body.
I will eat my fucking shoe on stream.
Likewise, you could end up being the good guy. They'll be like, David's a fucking retard. There ain't no Metal Gear Solid 3. He bit the bait like a fucking retard. Let's go.
Well, that's the truth.
Oh.
And then we'll see that it's filled with microtransactions.
Why
You gotta
would you-
pay for the
Why would
for
you say
half of the
that?
story.
Of course.
Kojima cries
If
in the
that's
corner.
if that's what, if honestly, if Metal Gear Solid 3 was announced, you fucking know it would be something like that.
I'd be torn. I'd be torn about giving Konami money or not. If,
Kojima
MGS3
cries about his
remake was
baby being ruined.
Fucking, if they actually entirely remade MGS3 in Fox Engine, I would be so torn.
So, I never brought it up. But speaking of weeb games in a way, Konami, we got a Gundam game coming to PC. Who wants?
Don't
Shut up!
Don't
That's
care.
enough.
Shut up! You're
Get off
done.
the stage.
We're not today. Not next time. Not fucking ever. We're not talking about
At the beginning, we had we were going through everyone, and it never got to me. And I wasn't gonna say anything about
Yeah, we talked about Dark Souls too much.
Whose fault is that? All right, you save it for next week.
No.
We'll talk about it, okay?
I need to say it now. I made a
Need to
mistake.
get it off my chest.
Guys, I made a mistake.
What'd you do?
I bought a thing.
What'd you buy?
What'd you fucking buy?
Red Nose. I bought a thing. I bought an Arma 3 server.
No, you didn't.
I did.
You did not.
I did.
All right, then we'll stream it.
Alright, everyone catch us on stream playing Arma 3.
Oh,
Alright.
yeah.
Tactical odds.
Tactical stream after this.
Tactical.
I
We're doing an after show
I gotta
after
get
this?
dinner.
Stick around.
That
maybe?
is
I
the
mean,
after show. And how's it an after show? This is gonna be
I don't-
published tomorrow, and the live thing is right now.
Oh, fucking! Who knows who's listening?
Alright, if it's gonna be published tomorrow, you better get started editing, buddy.
No.
Right, David?
No.
Yeah, come on.
Get
come
that
on.
up!
Go.
Get that up!
No.
Right the
Publish
fuck
it.
now!
No.
Let's go.
No. Stop it. No.
Better be published by the time I finish eating.
No.
Yeah, better be. You got
Don't do
15
it.
minutes, motherfucker.
Don't do it.
Alright,
I'm
folks. Finish that statement, and then we're done.
Don't do
I'm
it.
cutting you off. No, don't do that.
Come on.
No, stop panning. No,
Don't go in my ears.
Our audience,
Scaring the
our
audience.
is gonna be very scared.
Alright, kids.
I'm in our fans' ears. I'm gonna do 3 things.
Alright, from all of us here at Team Trash, and we appreciate you all listening. You can find us at twitch.tv/fucking something. We'll figure that out afterwards.
We'll put it
On
somewhere.
Twitter at
It's in the middle of the screen right now. It's in the middle of the screen right now. It's
Fix this
spinning.
Something trash, man.
in the middle of the stream.
Spinning.
It'll be trashy.
It'll be trashy.
Gonna eat your
We will-
garbage, and we're
we
out.
will